This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 89 of Horsemanship Radio, brought to you by the world's best omega-3 supplements, Omega Fields. Horsemanship Radio is part of the family of the Horse Radio Network. And today we have some interesting characters all the way from South Africa with React. This is Debbie Laux, and you're listening to the Horsemanship Radio. Thanks for joining us. Horsemanship Radio airs on the 1st and the 15th of the month. And I have my producer, Coach Jen, with me. Hi, Jen.
Greetings. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, we're going to have a great show. I mean, you and I got a little sneak peek at all the interviews, and it's really interesting and comforting to know such young kids are off doing things for horses that you'd never expect at their young ages. So this will be really fun to introduce to our listeners.
Yeah, it's a really fun international flair to today's show with people who, we have one end of the spectrum where we have a veterinarian who has an established career who is branching out and improving the welfare of polo ponies, even though he already had a well-established career in a more traditional veterinary role. And then we have the React team who are really just getting started in their careers in whatever they decide to do. They said, we're going to do this first. This is going to be important, and we're going to make a difference for some horses and animals.
Yeah, I love what they did. I mean, they're young and they've got all the ability in the world, but they put together something called REACT, which stands for Riding Expedition Against Cruel Training. Do you love that?
I love me an acronym.
Acronyms are fun too, but it's just so idealistic. And they're in South Africa. It's not that safe, so you'll have to hear how brave risks. These people are. Yeah, really, really brave. So what's going on in your stable?
In my little stable, I have a Pablo report. We haven't chatted about Pablo in a long time.
Update me. Yeah, how's Pablo?
Pablo is doing well. He is the next door neighbor's paint horse who really kind of started me on my journey towards understanding and making use of the language of Equus.
That's right.
He kind of said it's either that way or the highway, honey. He is
only one language he was going to speak with.
That's right. He is not willing to change languages. He is a very, very reactive animal, and he is very, very intuitive in that when a human being uses the language of Equus when handling him, he's right on your page. He is not one of those horses that unlearned it. He makes me think of the Mustangs or the untouched horses in that when the human gets it right, it's instantaneous response because they already speak the language.
Yeah.
Versus
instant trust. They really get you.
Versus maybe a horse that's been a school horse and a jumper and has had 3 or 4 different careers with human beings over the years. They learn to completely tune out whatever the human is saying with their body because it makes no sense. They just talk to the hand. I don't care what you're doing.
Hoof. Talk to the hoof.
Talk to the hoof. So he has taught me to try harder to get it right because I now know that when I get it right, he's right there. Yeah. Well, we're taking care of him this week, and I put the dually halter on him because he tends to walk quickly and get in front of you, and he's very easily startled by everything.
Okay.
Everything, including his own shadow.
Shadow.
If I blink. So I put the dually halter on him because I don't want to yank on his halter. He's got a couple of summer sores on his face, so we're trying to be very careful not pulling on anything on his face. And I thought, well, the dually halter has a unique design in that you can put the lead rope on the left or the right.
That's right.
So I can put it on the side so that the halter daresn't twist at all and bump into the little sore on the side of his face. Like, oh, this is excellent.
Yeah, good.
And I can protect his little face that way. But I can also add a modicum of control so that he doesn't startle and step on me. I liked that.
Yeah, that does help. So how much have you schooled him with the dually so far?
Well, the first day I put it on him, I just gave it a little bit of a tug, and I have to tone everything down with Pablo. If you even have the tiniest hint of adrenaline, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna eat me." So I had to be very careful to keep things low, because that's one of the things I struggle with, is the adrenaline part.
Okay.
I'm a little bit of a type A that way.
Yeah.
So I struggle
okay.
with
That's
I,
what Julias are perfect for that.
Yes.
So you don't have to.
I don't have to. And I got that settled in. And I found, and I had to remind myself of this, it's not like all horsemanship. It's not the equipment you're using. It's how well you use your equipment.
It's the hands that hold it.
It's the hands that hold it. And I had to remember to school him, not just yank on it. Because you see people yank on halters that are rope, halters that are leather, halters that are nylon, halters with chains, halters without chains. Not an effective training method.
Extrinsic. Exactly.
There you go. And I had to remember how to use it properly. So I had to give it a firm, but inside my brain, gentle tug, in that my brain was not going, yeah, because that doesn't work.
And he was ahead of you. He was going ahead of you.
And he was ahead of me. And he gets ahead of you, and the ears go up and the eyes go buggy, and something's about to be terrifying, and I'm going to get squished any second now.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because he is so intuitive. He is so tuned into what the human is doing with their body. We backed up 2 steps and forward 1. Okay. He stopped stock still. His little ears flapped to the side. And he said, "Gotcha."
Good.
I did that 2 or 3 different times over the span of a couple of days. And it's incredible if I have to stop him and back him up in 1 step and forward 1 hoof. It's very key for him. And I don't know if this is all the time, the schooling part. There has to be a back and a forward. If there's just a back, the results are not the same. It's
like dancing. Once if you've got the back and forth, then they're really listening to you, right? It's not just one. It's not just the other. It's the movement with. Where are you most comfortable with his nose? At your shoulder, or
about shoulder? Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I don't want.
And that's
go ahead.
Tell us why.
I don't want his shoulder at my shoulder, because when he starts at things, which he does continuously, his shoulder's going to crash right into me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a big part.
And it's a big part. If I have his nose there, he's more likely to jettison forward and get past me, giving me the opportunity to ask him to stop. It's just been experienced that if I let his shoulder get there, there are more wrecks.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And what if he's 2 steps behind you? What do you feel like with that? Oh, he's further back.
I don't care for that, because then I can't see him, and I can't.
Yes.
I feel like I can't communicate with him because I'm not within eyesight of, because his body language is giving me clues just like mine is giving him clues.
Exactly.
So I don't like it back there either.
Good. That's perfect, Jen. A lot of people don't follow that, and they have their reasons too, and that's okay. I just wanted to know how you felt about it, because you're, this isn't for a show class or anything. This is actually real life.
This is real life every day. Take them in and out of the barn. Sometimes you bring them in and they're all amped up because you're 5 minutes late with dinner, and they're all a Twitter. Some days you bring them in and they're all, "Oh, it's hot and sweaty out. I want to walk slow." So you're right. It's real life. And he reconfirmed that it's training technique and how I use the equipment. I can't just give it a tug and say, "Slow down." He gets ahead of me and he forgets that he needs to stay at that shoulder. We stop. We back up 1 or 2 steps. We come forward 1 step. And if he gives me those indications that he's got it, he takes a breath and he relaxes and he says, "I'm with you. We're good." We stop for 30 seconds and we walk on. If he's still amped up, then we need to back 1 step, come forward 2 steps, and we need to continue that. And the longest I've ever had to keep schooling in one, I'll call it a session, before we take a breath and then move on, is maybe a minute, because he's so intuitive. And I've other horses that takes different amounts of time, but it was kind of a little light bulb thing going, "Oh yeah, Jen, don't get lazy, don't get complacent, and just give it a tug." That's not the way it works.
Right. Right. And you're going to refine this. I mean, I don't know how long your neighbors are gone. You're just a week again, but as you work with him and he remembers, and they don't forget anything. They don't forget anything. They might test you and see what they can get away with. But as you refine this, it's really a matter of closing your hand. You'll eventually get to just closing your hand, because closing your hand means you're stable where you are. You stop, close your hand. And if he walks forward, he actually pulls that thing himself.
He
or
bumps into
if
it,
he
yeah.
doesn't, or if you're trying to get him forward and you just close your hand and start to move forward, then if he's resisting it, he'll actually move out there. So it literally becomes not even a tug after a while, once they understand the dually halter and they choose to move themselves. This is what intrinsic learning is, when they start to school themselves because they know where they're comfortable. And training at the shoulder is perfect for me. I think I'm the most comfortable, and therefore they're the most comfortable at the nose too, because like you said, they don't want to be scary the leader. Scaredy cats don't want to be out
right,
the head of the trail. And if they're too far behind, if something gooses them, they're over the top of you, and they don't want to do that either. So yeah, you're right on track. Right on track.
Phew.
Nah.
they teach you something every day, those horses.
Oh, isn't it fun?
Just
yeah.
Got to keep your eyes open and watch for it.
I'm glad you have a new friend in Pancho. It's really fun.
Yeah, Pablo's a cool little dude.
Pablo.
Frustrating, but cool. He's one of those horses that he drives you crazy, but he drives you crazy the same way your favorite teacher in school drove you crazy because they pushed you hard.
Ah, that's nice.
It's the same. It's that same, I think, mental relationship for me, because he does make me crazy sometimes. Like, I just want to pull my hair out. But then once I get past pulling my hair out and take a deep breath, I learn a lot from him.
Yeah. No, that's good. He's retraining us. You're retraining him.
There we go.
And he's got a friend. Yeah, he's got a friend.
Oh, now we have to put in that soundbite. You've got a friend in you. There we go.
Yeah, that's right. We got a little music with us.
There we go.
Well, let's get on to our, we've got some great guests today. Let's get the listeners involved with them.
Alrighty. We're going to hear from our title sponsor, Omega Fields, and then the folks from React are coming up next.
Your horse is your partner in sport, in leisure, and just in life. To keep him at his peak performance and optimal health, a solid nutritional foundation is key. Ideally, horses are able to graze fresh, growing grasses, which most closely mimic their natural diet. But that may not always be possible, and we may need to supply some of those missing ingredients in today's diets and provide more functional foods. One component of a horse's diet that is often underfed are omega-3 fatty acids. While more prevalent in fresh forages, harvested forages are lower in omega-3 fatty acids due to their more advanced maturity. Obviously, grasses and legumes have to grow to a sufficient height in order to be harvested, while foraging patterns of horses show great preference for shorter, less mature plants. That's why modern horsemen and horsewomen trust Omega Horseshine to provide a powerful, bountiful source of omega-3 fatty acids for their equine partners. Look for Omega Horseshine from Omega Fields at your local tack and feed supplier, or you can find them online at omegafields.com.
Last year, the React team, riding expedition against cruel training, decided to travel to the north of South Africa, all the way down again to the south on horseback. Starting off in Heidelberg on 29th of November, 2016, they were a company of two, a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old, and they rode 4 horses without any on-hand support except the material that they carried with them. This expedition is probably one of the youngest riders' expedition to ever cover approximately 1,400 kilometers on horseback alone. They lived to tell the story, and Hannelie Bremer and Petrus Tromp completed their first phase of the Monty Roberts certification courses shortly after that, facilitated by the Monty Roberts certified instructor Kirsty Jenkins. And then they got on an airplane and they flew on the 31st of March, 2017 to the Monty Roberts International Learning Center in California to further study the natural horsemanship and horse behavior courses there. It's the first international course that was ever held of its kind in Africa, so they will be the first crop of certified instructors, should they choose to make it, that are going to be working in South Africa. We're very proud of that. Hanali and Petrus hope to bring many more of these expeditions and a lot of the information back to South Africa to help develop the country's knowledge about horse psychology and working with remedial horses and starting the young horses. So let's hear from React.
Well, welcome back. We have 2 students that are in the advanced course at the Flag is Up Farms for the MRILC, or we call it the Monty Roberts International Learning Center. And these 2, Hanali and Petrus, have come all the way from South Africa. Now, you have to tell me the story about coming all the way from South Africa first, and then I want to get into another story that I heard about that sounds so fascinating for anybody who is related to horses at all. But first of all, Hanali, you're here with the advanced course. Where did you take your introductory course?
I took my introductory course with Kirsty Jenkins in South Africa. It was the first ever introductory course held in South Africa. About 2 weeks ago, I finished my exams.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, if anybody has ever gone through a certification process, to have just finished her introductory course exams 2 weeks ago and is now suddenly in another country and another continent taking her advanced courses is quite a testament too. And Beatrice?
Okay, well, I was on the same introductory course. And so I also finished my exams 2 weeks ago. And then now I'm here.
It's so exciting to have you here too. And Kirsty Jenkins is actually Scottish.
Yes.
And was certified over here in the United States, of course, has been long time working with Monty, and was very excited to go just attend the first demonstration that Monty did over in South Africa, first in Joburg, in Johannesburg, and then down in Cape Town. But we talked her into, could you just maybe put a join up on while you're there? And hey, long story short, she's had intro courses and got to meet you all. And so I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. And tell us how exciting it is to be in the advanced course here, because you all have been smiling for the last week and a half so far.
Yes, it's been incredible. I learned about Monty Roberts' advanced course when I was about 16 years ago. When I was 16,
I was going to say,
that's about 4 years ago. And it's been a dream to me ever since to come here and study further. And it's been very exciting. It's my first time overseas and in USA. So it's been really exciting.
Oh, we're glad to have you here. And are you about the same age then too, Beatrice?
Yes, I'm a year younger. But yeah, I heard about Monty only when he came. Well, I've heard about him, but I only had to do with his methods actually when he came to South Africa. And it really intrigued me immediately because I was always against violence in horses, and I was always looking for a better way to get my horses started and to work with my horses. And then this was actually perfect. So I looked into it, and when I did the introductory course, I got hooked on immediately, and I was like, no, I'm definitely going to do the advanced. And yeah, and it's amazing to be in America also. I've never been in the USA. And it's been a really good experience so far. And we've learned so much at the course. And the Flag is Up, really an amazing place. When you walk into the gate there, it's like so peaceful and quiet. And everybody's so friendly. So really enjoying it, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad to have you here. I've said that like 3 times, but we really are glad to have you here. But speaking to the nonviolence angle, you have a wonderful story about a cause that you both had close to your hearts. And I'd like to hear more about that. What did you decide, and how did you roll it out?
Okay, well, when we were both little, we didn't know each other, and we both had a dream of doing a trip on horseback for quite a while, as long as we can, actually. And as we grew up, and Achukam like pushed it to one side until we met each other, but just a bit more than a year ago as well. And we talked about doing a trip, and we're like, oh, we have this dream to want to do a trip. And then we decided to, but like, what's holding us back? And we started thinking of doing a trip across South Africa. So from about the center of South Africa right down to the coast. And then as we started thinking about the trip, we thought, well, we have to have at least a course we're riding for. So we were thinking about it, and we really put some thought into it. And since we were both into Monty and into non-violence, we're like, okay, well, let's get South Africa also a bit more aware of non-violent training, and that's how we came up with React. That
React.
was React.
It's an acronym.
Yes. It stands for Riding Expedition Against Cruel Training.
Oh, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. So I got it that you had a bucket list as very young people. You had a bucket list to ride across an expedition or something like that. Yeah, on horseback. And then you met and you decided to finally live out this bucket list item.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you both agreed that what the cause would be, and it's React.
Yes. South Africa, I think, has a lot to learn about nonviolence training. So it was incredible the way we could, first it started just about this awareness thing, and, it's going to be on the logo and everything. But as we started traveling down the country, we could really make people more aware, and we could show them some stuff and nonviolent training methods. And it's been incredible, the response we got.
I'm glad. So you don't think you were going against tradition?
We were. We really were going against tradition. Me, myself, I grew up in a very traditional family with traditional horsemanship methods. So, yes. But I think the way we try to do it is not let us show you how it's supposed to do. We really tried to connect people and their horses and to bring people together with us.
And how did you do that? What did you demonstrate to them?
Our approach was more, okay, we see you got maybe your horse has a problem with this. Let's see what we can do. And we would try to involve the person as well. And as we progressed, the people just got to see that these nonviolent training methods were just so effective that they were just astounded, and they had to give over. So,
what were some of the issues that you overcame?
Well, one of the first ones was a horse that wouldn't stand still while mounting, and we actually we like the guy he's heard about Monty and he's like heard about join up and stuff, and he's like, no, do a join up and then he'll stand still. And we're like, oh, well, not really, but we told him we can try and we can show them a join up. And his girl was actually riding the horse, so we got the horse and we did a join up, and then we eventually got him standing still mounted, and she could mount him from wherever, and he was fine. And then a lot of the time, mostly we showed them join up. People were just interested. We had a horse that was really spooky, and so we did a bit of the desensitization with the plastic bags and lines and everything. And they also backed actually one horse.
They did.
Yeah, we got a horse backed.
Which one of you backed the horse for the first saddle, bridle, and rider?
Yes, first saddle, bridle, and rider. Well, we worked together, but in the end, I got on first, and she was fine.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. So you did a join up first.
Yes, we did a join up first. It was very interesting because none of the places we were there was only one place at an actual round pen. So for this backing, we had a kind of a corral, but it wasn't round. The one side was square and the other side was like half round, and it was the ground was a bit slanted. We got a nice join up. I don't know how. And it was successful.
Now, what breed were you seeing when you went across the country? Because I think a lot of people don't know what breeds are in South Africa.
Yes, the horses we used, we also trained them by ourselves before the trip. They were the SA Boerperd, and that's an indigenous breed in South Africa. They're not known internationally. They haven't been exported yet, but they're very well known in South Africa for their temperament, their hardiness, and athleticism. And yes, they're incredible.
Say it slowly for us. Now, they're the what breed?
The SA Boerperd.
Boerperd.
Yeah.
Yes. And Boerperd, if you want to translate directly, is farmer's horse. Because that's where they originated from, as a kind of like a workhorse and a ranch, like go get the cattle and the sheep and go patrol and stuff. So that's where they originated from, and they were used in the Anglo-Boer War.
Boer Wars.
Yes,
yeah, we say Boer Wars.
Between the English and the South Africans. And that's where their history actually comes from, is all the way through there, and now they've
So they
been
came
preserved.
from England originally?
No,
or-
they were mixed of a lot of breeds in South
Yeah.
Africa, and then the lines were a little bit small.
Gotcha.
They started right after the Cape Colony got started in Cape Town in the 1600s. And so they started first only being Arabs and later some Andalusians. It was Arab-Berber crosses, then some Arabs, and then Andalusians and Isabella horses that were on their way to South America. And then later on some thoroughbreds were also introduced. But the breed has been since 1998. Since 1957, it's been recognized as an indigenous breed, but it's settled in 1998.
That's a long time in between. Why did it take so long? Do you know?
There's a lot of reformation that took place since the beginning, the development of the breed, and a lot of lines developed. And also, of course, when the wars happened, a lot of the horses got extinct, a lot of the lines got extinct, and the breed that we know as today are still left from what the Boers preserved in the war.
And how do you know so much about the breed?
My grandpa, Jan van der Walt, is a well-known SA Boerpad breeder in South Africa. He is one of the founders of the association that we know today.
Is that right?
Yes.
So you were sort of born into this,
Yes.
this dynasty of horses, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, though,
It's very
right?
exciting.
I bet you come here and feel kind of special about that, though, because not very many of us know much about that. Yeah?
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a heritage and something you're proud of.
Mm-hmm. So what do you want to change in South Africa? You've got REACT formed now. You're going to have a certification, we hope, eventually when you get all your lessons in. What do you want to do with all that talent?
We definitely want to get South Africans and the people working there with the horses, get them a bit away from the traditional methods, and I'd love to see a lot more people doing non-violent training of their horses, whether they show jumpers, eventers, just want a horse to ride, or whatever they're doing with their horse. Just give the horse a chance a bit more, and we both would really love to use horses in the lives of people and help them to change lives, and emotionally as well as physically. Because South Africa is a place with a lot of violence and with a lot of problems, so we'd love to use horses in that area as well.
So you're not looking to win the next World's Championships out of South Africa or anything. It's not as much about. Or maybe you are. Yeah.
Well, if I get a chance, though, I'd love to. I love competing and I love show jumping, but that's not my main goal. But if I ever get the chance to, I'd love to be a champion or ride Olympics or something. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how about you?
I'm not competitive at all.
No,
Yes, I'm very into how horses and people relate. The psychology between horses and humans just fascinate me, and horse behavior, how they interact with each other. It's something that has fascinated me since I can remember, and I just want to develop it more and more. There's so much I think we can still learn about the horse.
I'm glad you're an advocate for the horse too. But I understand the need for speed sometimes too, Beatrice.
Yeah.
I get that too. You've probably seen my mom competing around here, practicing.
Yeah.
We come from a very competitive family, so I get both sides of the equation too. But so what did you learn here in the advanced course so far? I know you're only halfway through it, but that you think helps your goals to get back to South Africa with?
Well, definitely working with untouched horses. It's been a total new experience. All the horses I've ever worked with are either rescued or remedial or have been in a stable, so they've been worked with. You just had to put the saddle on.
So they were born in domesticity.
Yes.
They were born domestic horses.
Definitely.
But in this case, you're working with
something
feral horses, right? Yeah.
So that's taught me a lot already, and especially about the timing of your work, and the really you don't have to even use a lot of pressure or anything. It's that's been, I think, my highlight so far.
Yeah.
Is working with those horses and seeing how fast the horses actually learn.
Yes.
That was amazing, how quickly they can actually learn. And if you do the right thing, it's within minutes. So, and I'll definitely take that further into my riding and into my training of horses. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, for me, I have worked with some feral horses before, but a lot of them have already had bad experiences, for instance, in a shoot or whether they were vaccinated or whatever. And so for me, it has just been an eye-opener how these horses that have never had a bad experience and the whole training process just goes so smoothly, and that the horse just really has his will in his heart to do good. He doesn't want to fight you. He doesn't want to be bad. He wants to be good. And so that's been incredible to me, to see if you do the right thing, the horse will do the right thing as well. And also, these instructors are amazing. I've really been inspired to really fine-tune my work. And I really think horsemanship is an art, to really perfect it. Yeah. I'm just really inspired.
Good for you. It is. It's timing, and that is art, isn't it? You know, not everybody's born with that, but you can be training. But your physiology helps a lot at this point, this advanced stage that you guys are both in. So I'd love to hear. Like, this must be a pretty nerve-wracking experience that you're going through, coming from another country, right? Dumped into Flagstaff Farms, where you know the man Monty Roberts is fortunately he's not here, but you know, so you don't have to be that nervous. But Denise is friendly and wonderful as a teacher. But so, what was the most hair-raising experience you've had between the trek from north to south and here?
Okay, well, I think most of them was on the track itself. On the trip, we've got some amazing experiences.
On the trip too.
On the trip, on the trip down on
south,
the
Did you have
trip.
any just really crazy stories?
Yes, we have a few crazy stories.
Oh, a few.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we were riding for about 3 months, so it took quite a while. So we've got a lot of stuff happen. I mean, I could share one of the stories that really touched me.
Sure.
It was on the, I think it was about in the last week of our trip. We had to cross a mountain range, and there was only one way, and that was a little narrow pass. And we we walked, we like laid our horses up because it's quite a busy road and there's a lot of trucks. So we really walked close to the side, and then it's the cliffs on the other side and the road on the one side. So that was quite scary, and our horses were so brave. At one point, actually, we got to a point where there was like a little hole in the way, and if the horse stepped into it, he'd like fall off the cliff. So, and it was too narrow to turn around. So we're a little bit, we weren't sure what to do. And on our one side, there was a fence splitting the road from the little side. So Hanley walked just around the hole and like stepped to see is the footing fine or not. And it was a little bit loose, so she did not want the horse to go over. And for some reason, he decided he's going to follow her over, and she like left him to see whether he can figure it out or not. And he like went across the hole, and nothing happened. And as he had to put his last foot over, he bumped himself against the fence and stepped away and fell into the hole.
He didn't.
And
oh my gosh!
It was actually so scary. I still, to this day, I don't know how the horse got out there, because he was. For anyone who's watched Lion King, where Mufasa was hanging on the cliff.
That's right.
Yeah, was hanging off the cliff. He was like hanging there, and there was no footing underneath him. So somehow he got himself out, and he was up.
Gosh.
And
he's a goat.
Yeah,
he got up the mountain.
He was a goat, and my horse was like looking at this, and he's like, "There's no way." And and he turned and he just climbed over the little fence, because it's about a knee-high fence, and he was just like, "There's no way I'm going over." So he turned by himself and he climbed over and he walked around on the road.
A practical man that he is.
Yes,
that's a great horse behavior story. Then too.
Unbelievable, and I think really how much we learned from our horses, and actually how far you can push your horse when he wants to work for you, and when they've decided, okay, we want to work for you, you can really push the limits quite far, and they'll go.
Yeah.
So that was I think that was one of my most amazing
That's a crazy story. So
experiences.
you had 4 horses riding 2 all the time. Is
Yes.
that it? Yeah.
We started off, and in the end, we decided to send our pack horses home. So we ended up with only riding 2. Since the people were so friendly, we didn't really need all our pack.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. I'm glad. Do you have good horse stories or bad people stories or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got a lot of good horse stories. I mean, there's been so many times when our horses just climbed in and put in their hearts when we didn't even ask them to. They just did. We've had some very interesting people as well.
Yeah.
No, we didn't know what people we were going to meet, but yes, there's so many stories to tell. I can probably go on forever.
I'm glad to hear that there weren't any horrible. I mean, we hear over
Yes.
here in South Africa can be dangerous.
It can be. We worked out our route very well. It took us about a month to plan the route, and but the route we did was quite safe. I think it was rural country. It was off road. Yeah.
So, if you wanted to share with people probably the most important thing that you learned on your trek north to south, what do you think it was?
Never make decisions based on fear. If we would have said, no, we can't do this because we're afraid, or the horses would have said, no, we can't do this because we're afraid, then we wouldn't have gotten anywhere, and we wouldn't have this amazing story to share today. And it's incredible how if you just step out of your comfort zone, there's a whole world waiting there. And I want to encourage young people. We are young. We'll be 20 this year. Petrus is 19. And there's not a lot of young people in South Africa doing trips like this and adventures like this. But I want to encourage young people to try to things that push you out of your comfort zone, because you learn so much. You learn from other people. You learn from new experiences, from nature. And yeah, it's just very precious memories.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, I definitely also agree with Hanley. I also definitely learned it doesn't help to be afraid, and you don't need to be afraid. You can step out of your comfort zone and you can achieve great things. Doesn't matter if you're young, and you don't have to be someone special. I think even Monty's story alone is also a big testimony of that. You can be a normal person. It's just you have to have the will to do it, and you'll find a way somehow. And yeah, we weren't special teenager. We were just normal people that decided we're gonna do this. So I'd love to also encourage young people to take a step out of their comfort zone and really do something else. And yeah, there's no need to be afraid. And that's definitely one thing that I've also learned, is being afraid doesn't help you at all.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing you guys impart to these horses, because these horses look like, I want to be afraid. Do you think I should be afraid? And you guys are saying, no, don't be afraid.
Exactly, yeah.
Set a goal and you can do it. And I think that's what the horses are partnering with you and recognizing. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for the interview. I appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on Horsemanship Radio.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, welcome, Cavallo founder, Carol Herder. How are you today, Carol?
I'm great, Debbie. I'm very excited to be here with you and your listeners again today. Thank you for the opportunity.
I couldn't wait for today. It just marks a fulcrum in our Horsemanship Radio that we can add Cavallo, longtime friends of ours, Greg and Carol, and they've been instrumental in some of our horses' performances. The pads that we've used have been 100% Cavallo. As I recall, Dad sought you out for your memory foam pads. It wasn't the other way around. You didn't come to Dad and propose that you could be a sponsor of his, but he called you up one day. Do you remember that?
Oh, it's something I won't forget, yes.
Mm-hmm.
When my assistant called me and said, I've got Monty Roberts on the phone, of course I thought it was a joke. And I get on the phone and he says, my name's Monty Roberts. You might not know me. Just so humble and sweet. And he said he went to a local tack store and bought a saddle pad and just loved it and wanted to help get it on horses' backs around the world. So that's how our relationship started, isn't it?
It is. And I was really excited about that because I got to make the calls back to you to arrange you to come to the farm and show us a little bit more about your pads at the time. And I know you were big and growing then, but you've become such a global phenom. It's a global business. But what I love about you guys is you're still family. You're still humble and you still put in the miles to share the good news of your products. You're in a different country, I think, every time I talk to you. And you're out there doing it. What do you have upcoming right now as far as appearances?
Well, I've just come from Equine Affair. We were in Massachusetts and Ohio, and we had upwards of 500 people, wanted to hear me talk, which is great because it used to be just a much smaller group. Last week I was at a news show called The Main Event in Toronto, Canada, and I'll be moving on to 3 days at Western States Horse Expo in Sacramento, California. I'll be speaking all 3 days there. And I'm just so encouraged by the amount of people that are turning out for my talks now. As a horse community, it seems like we're really seeking answers that make sense to us personally and things we can substantiate and understand and really get behind.
Your talks, what I love about them is your story. This was one of those businesses born out of necessity. Tell us a little bit about how you founded Cavallo.
Well, yeah, I got into horses as an adult from a background of holistic healthcare for humans. So I really didn't have any preconceived notions or anything. I just always knew I wanted to be in the position to get involved with horses. So I got my first horse, Rocky.
Yeah.
But he was lame half the time, and he seemed agitated the rest of the time. And, poor guy. And when I started asking questions like, is this, this isn't like those beautiful horses you see running free on National Geographic, this horse was agitated. Mm. I was told that it's just part and parcel of horse ownership, and I should get used to it. Mm. And I just thought, no way. Like, horses have been on the planet for 50 million years. 50 million years. It's not like they have a design flaw. I started Cavallo in 1993, and all I had was this, burning question on my mind. How can I make this industry better for our horses and the people who ride them? So I had to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of research before. Initially, it was, we've domesticated our horses and we ride them, so their issues must be a result of the saddles we put on their backs. And that's when I developed the saddle pads that Monty loves. But a lot of the conditions still carried on, those inconclusive diagnoses like navicular. So it became apparent fairly quickly and that it was stemming from the feet, no hoof, no horse. And then when I started investigating that, everything really changed.
Yeah. And you've even written a book about this titled, There Are No Horseshoes in Heaven.
When I launched the book, you talk about how you can change overnight and change things and make a difference overnight. Well, the book was an overnight success. It became an Amazon #1 bestseller in 4 countries in 24 hours. So I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged to carry on.
Good. Well, I like the encouragement. I support what you're doing, and I'm so happy to have you support what we're doing for good horsemanship here, because I know that you always put horses first, and we feel the same way. So we're just excited to have you on as a sponsor and happy to support what you're doing for good horsemanship. Thank you, Carol Herder. Michal Rojek is a veterinarian for High Goal ponies in the UK, and he came from the School of Veterinary Medicine in Lublin, Poland in 2014 to follow his dream. Well, welcome, Michal Rojek, all the way from the UK. Thanks for staying up late for us.
Oh, hello. Hello, Debbie.
Hello, Michael. Well, yeah, it was really kind of Natasha and Nick Roldan to introduce us because I'm fascinated by your industry and what you're doing. And I'm fascinated, of course, by their success in the polo fields of UK, US. Do you ever get over to the US as well?
No, not really. Not
No,
yet.
you've come a long way just to get to England. What led you all the way from Poland? As we introduced you originally, you studied and were from Poland. What led you to the fields of the polo fields of England?
Well, basically that wasn't a plan. My plan was to go to Abu Dhabi to work over there.
Ah.
Yep. The United Emirates. But well, when I was there and I was waiting for my wife, she's realized that we will have another baby. So she decided she wants to stay in Europe. And with a little bit of help from a friend of mine, I found this job in the UK. And I didn't really know where I'm going. So then I realized we got a lot of polo ponies to look after, and also some show jumpers, and well, basically.
Yeah. So you saw a lot of work in the UK. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. What was it about Abu Dhabi that was interesting you?
Well, my work in Abu Dhabi was a little bit different than what I do now, because Abu Dhabi was more about reproduction. So I basically, for about 2 months, I was a repro vet in Abu Dhabi. I used to work with some Arabian horses, the show Arabian horses, and especially mares, of course. The best holiday in my life, I have to say.
So it was a good holiday for a couple of months anyway. Pay is good, and it's exotic for sure.
Oh, amazing.
Well, I'm interested in the fact that you went from reproduction then. You're a trained vet, got all the credentials there, but you end up doing a lot of horses' teeth too. Is that specific to the polo, or was that are you working on horses' teeth for the show jumpers as well?
I started to do horses' teeth about 10 years ago. I'm not only specialized in horse teeth, I also do some orthopedics. When I used to work in Poland, I was let's say normal vet with 50% of dentistry. Now it's more or less, I would say 60% of dentistry and about 40% of orthopedics.
Which do you find more difficult? I mean, I would think as a horse behaviorist, you would have more difficulty working in the mouth than you do on injuries. Am I right?
It's very difficult because, I would say you're right, because injury is obvious. But now, on the highest level, show jumpers, let's say, and also polo ponies, we are looking at we try to prevent lameness rather than treat it.
Good. Yeah, good.
So we are also looking at really, really difficult cases when our show jumpers are coming to us. They say, "Oh, my horse doesn't want to jump." Sorry.
Do they? That's all right. Do they feel as if they don't want to jump because they're hurting, or are they trying to tell you to teach them to jump higher?
Well, no. Let's say what they say is, "My horse doesn't want to jump the same from the left rein as from the right one." So there's a difference between reins for them, and they say, "Oh, I've just won 140 show yesterday, but the horse isn't good." So at the beginning, I was like, "Oh Jesus, something wrong with those people." They want to treat sound horses. And then when I started to discover more, I realized that before a horse is lame, he gives us at least 6 months in advance some warnings. He tells, "I'm really comfortable. I don't want to jump when it's too high, and I don't want to jump when the oxer is too big. And
so you're actually watching them being overmatched kind of before they actually are. They're still able, but they're not as willing. So you're seeing things proactively. So I see that you must have access to innovations in exercise equipment and things to bring horses back. Obviously, I saw some innovations on your Facebook page, like an oval walker, a free walker, but it's up to the knees of the horse in water. And I think it was salt water, if I recall. So tell us, what are some of those things you're doing to prevent these injuries happening ahead? I love that concept.
Well, what we do is we have to listen to what the rider says.
Okay.
We have to watch horse carefully. And well, that's the really difficult bit, because some horses they are quite unique. They trot, they walk, or they canter on quite unique way. So you have to know them. It's very difficult to be really good in this way of dealing with injuries when you don't know the horse.
Of course, yeah. So how did you get into the teeth? Is that because there are very few people that are willing to go into the equine dentistry, or is that something that you just seem to excel in?
Basically, what I do is quite dirty. So most of the vets, they don't like it.
I see. Do you sedate or not sedate?
I do sedate.
You do sedate. Yeah. And what do you think are the pluses and minuses of sedating?
Well, I will give you an example. When we are dealing with, let's say, normal sound horses, they are happy to let us do what we want.
Okay.
If there's anything wrong with them and they are unhappy, and there's a chronic inflammation and pain, and we come with the rasp and we cause some vibrations, we try to take a little bit of tooth, and there's a pain. And so my example will be little gray mare. The owner asked me to check her teeth, but without sedation. So I put the gag on her, and I put my hand in, and she lifted up her head and almost did break my elbow.
Oh, well, that's not good. Yeah.
I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't see anything because she did not let me. And the owner said, "Okay, she's unhappy. Do you think she's fine?" I said, "Well, as far as I could."
I'm in pain here. Yeah. Now we have two people that are. We've got a horse and a person that's in trouble.
I said, she's not too bad, but I can't really check everything properly. And 3 months later, she was losing some weight, and she wasn't happy. She wasn't eating well. So I said, let's sedate her. Last time she wasn't really good. So with sedation, I was able to check her properly.
Sure. Yeah.
And she did have a slap fracture. And slap fracture, this piece of tooth was pinching a cheek from inside, causing a wound. Let's say there was diameter of the wound was about 5 centimeters.
That's
really
awful.
bad ulcer. So basically, to extract that tooth, we did extract everything, but it's taken.
You've got to have some sedation in cases like that. This is not floating teeth. Yeah. Well, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about La Indiana. Do you get to go to some of those polo matches?
Yes, we are on every game.
Every game you get to go to.
Yes.
So you're there as the vet on site.
Yes.
Tell me about that. I mean, is there polo in Poland? That almost sounds...
Yes, there is a little bit. Yeah, there is a little bit. It's becoming more popular.
Yeah. But when you went to see La Indiana, was that like over the moon? Was it just super polo?
Before La Indiana started to play high goal, they were playing medium goal, and with medium goal teams, we were not going to every game. So before I went to I was looking after La Indiana last year. I saw, for example, Zakara, which was a great team. It doesn't really exist anymore. But well, I have to say, looking after La Indiana last year was that was a great thing for me. I was really excited every game because I was pretty close to them. I still am. I'm still pretty close to them. But with Nick Roldan, Tincho Merlos, and Negro Luzareta.
We should tell people that aren't familiar with this that La Indiana is a polo team that Nick Roldan is on, that you help with, and they are high goal players, all of these guys, and they've done well over in the UK. And this is where I first saw that you were on as a part of that team, and lots of things on Facebook people get to see. But to be hired by a team that is so accomplished as that, and to keep these horses sound and happy to be out there performing at that level, you must have access to all kinds of innovative ideas. These are the things that I was wanting to talk to you about, the innovations that you get to see to keep those horses at such a high level. I know what the guys do. They stay in great shape. But what do you do to keep these horses in great shape?
Well, we are there almost every day, sometimes twice a day.
At all the matches?
Not only the matches.
Not only the matches.
We are basically we visit the yard or the team once a day. If there's something wrong with horses, we treat them.
What's the preventative side of it? What are you looking for? Are you looking for the horse can't switch leads, when he's turning it? Because anybody who's watched polo knows that it's not like a horse race where you go in a straight line as fast as you can. You're going as fast as you can sometimes, and then you're going left really fast, and then you're going right really fast. And these players are very agile. And how do you keep the horses that agile?
They have to be fit. They have to be happy.
Okay.
They can't be in pain. So if there's anything we can do for them, if the players think horses unhappy, horses lame, or horses hasn't been performing well the last game, we try to find a reason why this
is
happened.
That a team effort? Like, do you talk to the players, or do you? Are you the first one to bring it up usually, or does the player bring it up to you?
Normally it's a player. They complain.
He says something doesn't feel right under me. This horse is needing some attention.
Yes, or grooms. Grooms are really important also. Okay. Because they are with horses, almost 24/7. That's
true. That's true. The grooms are critical, and they speak for the horse. Do those grooms stay with a certain number of horses? Usually, like, do they have only 4 that they have to take care of, or 5? Some number?
No. There's each player has got about between 10 and 15, 16.
Really? Okay. And how many vets are there during a match? Are you typically the only one representing that team, La Indiana?
Normally, I'm the only one. Yes. Normally,
what do you find is the most common issue that you have to treat on the days? Well,
the most common thing is all kind of orthopedic injuries. That's the most common thing. Muscle issues.
Muscle issues, yeah.
Yeah, that's the next thing I would say.
What about behavior issues? I know that is that something you look for first to wonder if there is a muscle injury, or a horse starts acting up, not wanting to do something, refusing to do something, or do you just see? They seem like really willing horses. The breeding that I'm seeing in the polo ponies are very compliant and very athletic horses.
Yeah.
But do you see behavior? Are there common behavior issues in polo ponies? And could it be medically related?
Well, at the highest level, if there was something wrong with the horse, well, let's say a horse wouldn't get to the highest level with some behavioral issues. And I was quite surprised with polo because horses, they act a little bit differently. Let's say one set of horses for one player is like a family. They go to the field together. They wait. They're waiting until it's their turn, just tied up.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than. Have you ever seen horses, the polo ponies going on exercise?
Yes. Describe it though.
So there's one rider, normally groom, and they went to get morning and afternoon exercise. Rider leads between 3 to 6 horses, and he's sitting on one. So
he's ponying those horses behind him.
Yeah, he is. He's ponying those horses behind them. Well, I have never seen show jumper doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it's what I have to. I mean, behavioral part of it's not my specialty, but I think polo ponies, we have to look at them from a little bit different perspective.
Why is that?
I think they are a little bit closer to nature. I mean, not nature, the normal horse behavior in a group.
Their herd behavior is a little closer to. Yeah, that makes sense.
Show jumper is, when you work with show jumper, you work with one horse. When you work with polo ponies, you can work with 3 to 7 horses at the same time.
Yeah.
They canter, they trot together, and it's. I mean, when you haven't seen this before, it's quite amazing because, as I said, one rider he can exercise. Between 3 and to 7 ponies.
And they're all happy to be together. I know that is a very cool sight. People should go watch polo more often. So what is your final dream? Do you want to get back to Poland eventually, Michael, or are you loving England? It's very horsey.
Well, England is very horsey. Extremely horsey. So I really love it. And what I think is, you said something about innovations. Well, we do quite a lot. We do quite a lot of regenerative medicine, IRAP, PRP. This is something when we treat orthopedics, for example. When we do orthopedic treatments, we use quite a lot of regenerative medicine. We do. We've got sea walker. We've got spa for horses. We've got nice facilities.
Yeah, modern expensive equipment is what I would call it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's quite a big difference between the UK and Poland. So I really would like to stay in England, but I also would like to come back to Poland to bring this.
You could take some of that back, couldn't you? Yeah. What you learned there and these innovative thoughts and equipment and everything you could eventually take back to your original country. Oh, that's a great dream. I think that's a great goal.
That's what I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm flying to Poland to treat some show jumpers. And but it's so much easier to learn here to improve skills in this country. It's a little bit more difficult over there. So yes, I see myself in this country really.
Well, maybe you can do a little bit of both, and your wife and kids might like that too. You know, it's a very global world, and it's a shrinking world. So maybe you can do that. Well, it's fun to talk to you about this, and I know that you work in the latest greatest equipment for horses, and I really appreciate that you're you're innovating and that you're helping those polo ponies be healthy. And so that when we watch those matches, if people get a chance to see some of these high goal players work like Nick Roldan, and he represents us in U.S. very well, that they will feel assured that they're seeing healthy horses and happier horses out there because of your help. So I appreciate that.
Well, people, they like to talk about polo, that it's cruel, it's poor ponies. It's not really like that. I think, let's say, about money, the amount of money Nick Roldan puts yearly into his horses' health, I would say it's quite amazing. So
yeah, he's a good guy, and he loves his horses, and I think that is the future for so many different disciplines. And I'm glad for you, and I'm glad for the polo ponies that is the truth. So, well, thank you so much, Michael, for joining us today on Horsemanship Radio. I really appreciate it, and a big kiss to Natasha for introducing us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Whisper the language of the herd. Listen, you don't have to say a word.
It's time for Jamie Jennings to fetch an email from Monty Roberts' inbox and share a morsel of Monty's wisdom in a little segment we like to call Ask Monty.
Leave this world a better place than mine. The magic in the language of...
Dear Monty, have you ever come across a horse so wild and dangerous that he was beyond help? Monty's answer: no. I have placed this question in this category hoping that the reader's mind will be jogged to realize that if Mustangs are the wildest and most dangerous horses on earth and can still be helped, that any horse can be helped. I have worked with some Mustangs that seemed, from how they behaved in their first lessons, to be absolutely lethal, and yet in a few days become relatively gentle. Obviously, with the experience of hundreds of Mustangs, it's easier for me to accomplish these improvements. But the principles remain the same for any horse person. It is simply a matter of getting your work right, meeting the needs of your horse, and carrying out the procedures that will accomplish the changes that you require to meet your goals.
For more of these insights into good horsemanship, go to www.montyroberts.com and click on the orange banner that says Get Free Horse Tips.
Hi, I'm Monty Roberts, and I'm dedicated to training horses without pain. You can learn to do it too on my Equus Online University. Western, English, the beginner, or the advanced rider, it doesn't matter. You can connect with other students online too, on our forum, and there's a new lesson every week. It's a lifetime of learning for you on my Equus Online University at montyroberts.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Where in the world is Monty Roberts?
Monty is looking forward to meeting some new friends, two-legged and four-legged. May 13th, we got one coming right up, Night of Inspiration with Monty in California. Then June 20th, he has a charity demonstration in the UK where Monty will demonstrate his horse sense and healing program for veterans with post-traumatic stress. And then July 10 through 21, there's a Gentling Wild Horses course that he'll be facilitating in California. Then July 31 to August 4th, his annual Monty Special Training in California. And it'll be held both in English and Portuguese for our Brazilian friends.
Woohoo! And you can find all of that and more at the website, montyroberts.com. Or you can give the folks at Flag Is Up Farm a call. They're friendly and they answer the phone. Their phone number is 805-688-6288. And for details about today's show, go to the podcast website, which is horsemanshipradio.com, and you'll find links and photos and more information about today's guests. And we love your feedback. If there's someone you would love Debbie to have on the show, a topic you'd like us to cover, let us know. And you can do that on Facebook. You can just look up Monty Roberts on Facebook. Of course, you just type in Monty Roberts, or you can tweet him. That's right. Monty Roberts is on Twitter, and his handle is Monty_Roberts. And last but not least, go and get the app. That way you'll never miss an episode of any of the Horse Radio Network shows. You can go get our app at your app store. Just search Horse Radio Network. It's free and easy to use. Or if you're old school, you can subscribe on iTunes.
Yeah, and it's addicting. Warning, it's addicting. Many thanks to our sponsors, too. Omega Fields, Cavallo Horse and Rider, and Monty's Equus Online University. Be sure to visit all the other great shows, too, on the Horse Radio Network at www.horseradionetwork.com. Until next time, have many happy horse hours.